Alright, we're doing another thing to the 335i today. We're gonna do a wastegate hood exit. Just because I've been throwing a lot of dust when I'm doing races with, like this weekend I raced the GTR and it was throwing a lot of dust on the highway. And I just want the flames coming out the hood, so I do have it already wrapped. I did have to bend the pipe a little bit so that it would go, straight up the hood. And then I also heat wrapped it. And if you want to not get all this fiberglass on your hand, you can get this wet and then wrap it so that it doesn't go everywhere. So the next thing we gotta do is cut the hood. I already have some of the measurements, so let's get this coming out the hood. So I have a bottom mount single turbo kit from Speedtech, and their kit comes with just one wastegate, so it's pretty easy to just turn around the wastegate so that the pipe that was normally going back towards the car and dumping straight to the floor, you could just rotate it and the pipe will come straight, and then you just need to rotate the pipe that went down up, and then it goes out the hood if you wanted like a wastegate dump or like a hood exit like type of deal. So that's what I'm gonna do, just because I wanted to see the flames, but I just wanted to see how easy it was gonna be. And you still can keep the stock retaining coolant reservoir here. Everyone that does single turbo kits usually puts it over here. I just don't like to do all that work when you could just leave it where it comes from factory. So I have a carbon fiber hood, which makes it a little bit easier to cut. So for the aluminum, it's a little different just because it's thicker material. But this one's easier to cut just because it's thinner and it's not as hard as aluminum. So first I have to cut the inner panel. So there's two layers to a carbon fiber hood if it's fiberglassed. So there's the top, which is the carbon fiber, and then the bottom, which is the fiberglass. So I need to cut off this section right here, and then I'll be able to get my measurements for the hole that I have to put where I put this tape, and then I have some of the measurements that I need that are the size of the pipe. And then after that, after the pipe is sticking through the hood, then you just cut it down to size. And I like mine to not stick out so far from the hood. Some people like them when they're like, sticking straight out so people see it, but I don't want the cops knowing that I have a freaking pipe coming out the hood, and I don't want to get ticket. I like to have it where it's flush, and so that I can just see the flames when I'm on the road. So this is what the pipe looks like. It looks weird when it's in the engine just because it's coming straight up and you normally don't see that. But you can see when you close the hood, you need to cut so it can go through. But I'm gonna cut this at an angle so that you can get that teardrop effect. Or I might have to weld a right angled pipe on there so that you could do a teardrop like you see in some of the show cars. But yeah, there's enough clearance between the valve cover and the coolant reservoir so nothing gets melted, and that's why I have it heat wrapped. And then to get these clamps on, these V-band type of style clamps, they're pretty difficult. You just get some pliers right here and you squish it together so that you can feed the bolt and the nut. If not, you're just gonna be fighting it all day, unless you got some Gorilla Grip fingers or something like that to push them, but I usually just use some pliers and squish it together. Bunch of ways on how to, cut the hood. I use one of these markers. You can get them at any hardware store or anything like that. It's just a paint marker. So I got the measure. I close the hood down, and then I draw around the circle that I need it to be. This thing would focus. So I drew a circle right there, but you gotta think when you close the hood, it puts the pipe back in a sense when you're closing it. So you wanna make sure you get the hole, but then you cut back like 1.5 inches just so that the hood closes and you have a perfect hole out the hood so that it comes out looking good. So that's what it looks like with the paint around it, and then how it's gonna come out the hood. So I made the first hole. I just like to center it a hole so when you cut this skin, you have the hole already there. So there's literally no going back because now there's a hole in my hood. I've done this once when I had my when I had my twin turbos. I've done this once. But when you put the tape there, you can see that it doesn't spider crack the carbon either. It just leaves a nice little hole that needs to be cut and drilled out. So we're gonna use where's the wheel? Oh, right here, it's right here. So we're gonna use this to cut the skin or the layer under the fiberglass part. We're gonna cut that on the bottom so that we can start drummeling out the hole, the diameter of this pipe. And then after that, we can go for a test drive and see how everything looks and sounds, and hopefully we get some flames out of the car. That's what I really, really want. Close the hood. Clean. Look at that. Oh.